Hey, welcome back to another episode on our new series, Pro Tips to Live a Dynamic Lifestyle. If you're new to this show, you definitely want to stay for this because we're dropping them every single day and we're giving you guys tips from literally experts and legit pro tips on how to live a dynamic lifestyle, especially in this pandemic and new circumstances and landscape that we're facing. So if you're interested, make sure to subscribe below. Other than that, get ready for this next one. All right, Chase Chewning. How you doing today, my man?
I'm good, man. Another day in quarantine paradise. I'm sure a lot of people are saying that it's become the new how's the weather conversation. Today's good. Yesterday was a different story. I think I hit a little bit of a wall with all these emotions of what's going on, but had to just get out of my head. Today's better, man.
Yeah, gotcha, man. No, good to hear. And I know we're both here in LA, so that's why I was asking you, man, do you see how nice the weather is? Because it's like, 80s, and I'm like, whew, just it sucks. But
I'm staring down at the pool I can't use. I'm staring down at like all these like things I would be using outside, and yeah, man, it's a tease. It's a tease, right?
Frustrating times, but I mean, at least we are able to do this, bring on great people like you, man. So I appreciate your time and looking forward to you just contributing to this episode on the pro tip series to how to live a dynamic lifestyle through the pandemic and the quarantine. So other than, you kind of just tell me how you're doing, what are some tips you advocate to those that are just stuck in quarantine, a little bit in their head right now? And more importantly, like, how can they reinvent themselves during this downtime?
Yeah, a couple different things in there. And I'll answer the first part how I think I've always been answering that, and in other questions and other content, and structure. I really think structure, whether you've had it before or it's totally foreign for you, just building a bookend to your day, bare minimum of a morning routine and evening routine. But honestly, more so than ever, I am hyper diligent, like back to militant style Chase with where I'm going, well, I'm not really going anywhere, but what I'm doing, when, and, even down to breakfast, to walk, to email, to everything, just because, if you don't, a lot of things can get in the way. But now here we are, week 6 about in this, and I'm kind of like, sometimes that doesn't always work. I'm realizing that I'm a human being, and so I'll caveat that by saying part 2 is to have structure, but also really pay attention to the biofeedback. And if it's a day where you need to just like let yourself freak out, let yourself do nothing, watch Netflix. Last weekend, for example, I'd been working like 12 days straight, and I decided I needed some time off and chill. I was just going crazy. So I watched The Lord of the Rings extended edition, like 14 hours, the whole trilogy. I just sat my ass on the couch and did nothing. And it was great, man. It was a good reset. So structure for sure. But also just be a little bit more aware of when you need to let that go. Because look, day by day, truly day by day, things are changing.
Absolutely. And then anything you advocate just like for those that could reinvent themselves like during this time?
Yeah. Kind of what I've been doing in a lot of projects and for fun, but also for business, is just taking a complete inventory, bring that kind of sense of awareness I was talking about of your structure in your day, and bring that into things that you were working on, whether it was your job, a side hustle, or your own business. Kind of just take inventory and really audit yourself. That's what I've been doing. I've just been turning into a beautiful mind over here with my dry erase markers on my windows, and just like, okay, this is coaching, this is podcast, this is email, like all these different compartments, just taking an inventory and really seeing, all right, I can make this better. Maybe I don't need that. It's been really good. So being able to kind of just take audit of what I have going on to see how I can optimize things, but also, how I can kind of maybe, rebrand sort of kind of, and just, really step into a better, more well-oiled machine and a more optimized identity and business overall.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what we've been telling our Fit Pro students is right now is the time to work on those little things, landing pages, messaging, branding.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's great to hear you're doing that, man. And I want to segue into talking about your virtual summit you just had, because I really thought that was a cool idea you had, and that's a way to pivot, man. Like, that's a true entrepreneur. So this is good for the listeners to hear kind of like what you did and like what the whole like premise was with that, because to be able to host like a virtual summit like you did with those speakers and the tie in with like the great cause to give back to the pandemic. I mean, talk about that, man.
Yeah, it honestly, it almost didn't happen. And it came about during one of the first times I was doing that inventory I was talking about of just what are the projects, what are the things that I want to do or can't do, or just, taking all the excuses out, just what are the things, right? And I realized that this was something that was coming up that I had wanted to do in person. I did a summit last year. We did the EF Summit, the inaugural one, 2019. And it was in person here in LA. And it was a whole weekend. And it was kind of like this culmination of a big year-long coaching program that I've been running for all of us to get together and, spend a couple of days going around LA, camaraderie, going to the gym. And then the third day was speakers. We had, I think, 5 or 6 speakers here, downtown Los Angeles, and we had close to about 50 people total. It was a great, great day. And I knew then that I wanted to do it April 19th, 2020 for in person. And quick backstory with Everford, this message that our father passed down to us that, well, April 19th would have been his birthday, would have been his 59th birthday. And I always try to tie in a date and a meaning, and it just kind of helps me have a higher sense of accountability. And I honestly let that slip, and I knew it wasn't going to happen in person. But then once all this stuff came to fruition with the pandemic and quarantine, it was like I was able to kind of save my ass. It's like that idea, that thing I said I was going to do. Okay, I couldn't do it how I wanted to, but now, okay, what if I did it all online? And so I was still able to kind of hold true to that initial intention, and just really in about 10 days, reach back out to a lot of former podcast guests, reach out to some friends, some colleagues, just say, hey, I would like to do this. Can I get 30 minutes of your time? We're going to do these mini interviews. It's going to be a fundraiser. We're going to stay true to the event original cause of bringing good people with good messages together to raise awareness. Now we have a very, very specific global cause and global sense of awareness. So yeah, it was about 10, 12 days of just recording interviews and having everybody kind of share it out, promote it. And we had about over 200 registered attendees. And it was a big fundraiser, about $2,700 for COVID-19 relief. And I'm still coming off the high, man. It was incredible just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. See, that's awesome, man. I didn't even know about the in-person things. That's really cool how you just kind of pivoted to, the virtual thing. So that's awesome, man. So let's say this, Chase, like hypothetically, let's say, man, that your business got like wiped out, with this pandemic, and you had to literally start from scratch, but you kind of know all that, you have all the skills under your tool belt now. What would you do to kind of like build back up? And my hope is to give the entrepreneur or somebody that lost their business right now some confidence and hope.
I would probably go back to, well, I would do the things that I've been doing for, 3 years now, being on my own. All in all, my kind of world has been about 5 years in terms of content creation, filming, social media, then side hustle, and then full time. All in all, about 5 years now. And I would still probably go about and do everything that I have done already, but I would actually spend time first and create a strategy for it. The first one to 2 years, predominantly when I went full time with myself, my coaching business and the podcast, it was just, hey, let me just show up every day. Let me just do all the things, and let me just make sure that I'm present. Let me make sure I'm consistent. Let me just see what sticks. And a few things stuck, but it was just kind of spinning the wheel. And now year 3, 2020 for me has just been in everything that I do, like, what's the strategy? Even if it's just a tiny little bit of infrastructure of an intention and just, basic goal setting premises here that I wasn't doing at all before, I would still do. I still see an incredible amount of merit and value in the podcasting platform and in YouTube and in Instagram. And I think instead of just Chase having fun on all these different platforms, how it kind of started, and then just maybe they spill over into each other, I would have a strategy of, what am I trying to accomplish? What is my mission? What is my mission statement? Who am I trying to serve? What is the type of audience that I'm trying to grow, and why? For me, my why has always been pretty understood. It's definitely grown and solidified over the years. But how can I then transfer that why into all these platforms so that they all speak to each other and it makes sense? Instead of just, let me just have fun over here. Let me do one of these. Strategy, really, overall. I think so many different ways now to get your message out there and to connect with people and to grow a business out of it. And I just didn't do it strategically for years.
Right. And are you a fitness professional looking to create more income, impact, influence, and independence? If so, we actually just dropped our new book, Rise of the Fit Pros, so you guys can be on your way to doing all those things, and you can sit there and build your hybrid training model. So if you're interested in getting your copy, make sure to click the book or the link right here, and you guys can grab it. Other than that, make sure to enjoy the rest of the show. And just like what I like that, because I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that, because there's probably is a lot of entrepreneurs like looking to like pivot right now and like get out of maybe the 8 to 5 like grind, and that's the thing is like they maybe lack strategy. So like
intention.
What made you kind of like focus on like strategy instead of just kind of like doing different things like all over the place type of entrepreneur?
Yeah, what made me go from just random squirrel brain to strategy, not that I'm not still a squirrel brain right now,
Kind of all
was, just honestly keeping a lot of people in my life that were, I kind of try to live by a rule of threes, a third of the people in my life, and I didn't make this up, I forget who I heard this from, but a third or a fair amount of people in my life that are just killing it way above me, people that I can just look at and model and be mentored by and coached by, whether it's actually one-on-one or it's just me consuming their content or reading their book or whatever. And then another group of people that are kind of like at my level that we're peers and we can bounce ideas off of, and we're about at the same level and we can support each other in a lot of different ways. And then the third group of people are people that are one step or 100 steps behind me that I can be an example for, a leader for, and coach and mentor and just pass back information and failures and success. That was a big thing for me. Last year, 2019, I went everywhere. I did a lot of traveling, a lot of conferences, a lot of expos, buying, purchasing, investing in coaches and mentors and summits and things like this. And then I realized that was kind of like the missing link. I began to connect the dots that a lot of these people that were above me, I was like, well, Chase, like you can do that. Like they're just talking about strategy. They're talking about framework. They're talking about 6-month goals, 1-year goals, and then reverse engineering all that stuff. Things that I was familiar with, but I just wasn't really fully applying the way that it should have been applied. And so, yeah, end of 19 was say, all right, Chase, look at these things that you're happy with, things that fulfill you, your